All right, let's just do this. It's 8 minutes early, but I'm just sitting here waiting for it to start, so I might as well start it. Huh? How you like them beans? Them apples, right? But I'm just gonna say beans because whatever. Hey everybody. How's it going? Must caffeinate. Something went wrong with this. Tastes a little strange. Oh well. Yes, yes. Greetings and salutations and all of that nerdy nonsense. Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna wait until the... Never mind. I get easily distracted, as you know. What was I even saying? I don't know what. Whatever. Let's just get to it. Can I have some? Some what? Coffee? Yeah, if you make it. Just make yourself some coffee, then you can have him. You just say you can have him. I haven't woken up yet. Hence... Yeah. Yeah, it's... I tend to not sleep very well, and I felt particularly crappy when getting up today, so it is what it is. Maybe smack your lips a little more. Thank you, Mr. Sarcastic. I swear, the things people get bitchy over or critical, you know, everybody thinks they're a critic about everything. I've had someone criticize me for putting a pop filter or having the pop filter in front of the microphone when it was further away than this, because then it's not needed and it's stupid. Yeah. I kid you not. The shit that people come up with. It's like, you're holding the cap wrong. It's like, oh my goodness. On the internet, everybody is the supreme critic. Also, everybody thinks they're funny. And if you've seen comments for long enough over the years, you know that a tiny minority is actually funny. Anyway... The perks of being on the internet in public and being exposed to people's behavior, right? Yeah, exactly. Well, the fuck you have a headset on? Uh-huh. Pretty much. Everyone is a professor of everything on the internet. Yeah, you got that right. Let's see what the experts have to say. You should realistic drink your coffee with a reverse grip. Scientifically proven for better digestion, yeah. Fuck damn it. I'm really trying here. I'm trying, guys. Yeah, I got a sip. I almost broke my wrist and elbow simultaneously, but I got a sip. There we go. Looks like you're stuck in your house. Apartment, no. unfortunately. But, I mean, there's a bit of snow, but it's not too bad. I set up this way and tried to adjust the aperture correctly so that you see the background okay. It's impossible to do it without it being overexposed with how bright it is, because the sun just reflects so much light. It's way brighter out there than I can make it in here with the video lights, but I try to get kind of a compromise so you see a little bit of the background, because some of you seem to care a lot about snow, which is a mystery to me. Snow sucks. It's pretty for a couple of hours while it falls, and then it goes downhill after that. How's the COVID situation treating you? Well, business as usual. In other words, no business really, because we can't meet up for HEMA practice. I mean, right now we couldn't anyway, for obvious reasons, but yeah, it is what it is. Summer sucks more. Yeah, I want to agree with that. It still depends a little bit. I'll have to say, in the house out in the Hicks, winter was still a bit worse. It was the first time that I said that. Before that, I would always stick to saying that summer is worse. You know, because you can do more against the cold than you can against the heat. There's no bugs, etc., etc. But in that place, it was pretty bad. Canadian mosquitoes are horrible. I mean, mosquitoes. Which mosquitoes are pleasant, right? But if you mean that there's an unreasonable amount of them in parts of Canada, yes. Probably in a lot of parts. Like Ontario has a reputation for having way too many bugs. Nova Scotia clearly has more bugs than I'd like. Basically everywhere except Vancouver Island. Yeah. Seeing that the snow currently goes halfway up on my backyard windows, I'd say I have enough. Ugh, yeah. That's not fun. It's not fun at all if you have to deal with it. It's great as a kid if you can just frolic in the snow or whatever the hell, but as an adult, if you actually have to deal with it, you know, shovel it and drive in it and all that garbage, not fun. Who's your favorite porn star? It's maybe hard for you to imagine, but I'm not really a porn kind of guy. I know, crazy, right? But I'd rather have real life sex. Yeah. Crazy, right? I'd rather do it than watch someone else do it. Crazy concept. So I don't even know the names of any porn stars, so other than what I see in internet memes. Yeah, I will agree with that. Mosquitoes from tropical regions. Yeah, that definitely beats Canada. I would imagine. Whoever is asking about the porn stars needs to reevaluate their life. Possibly. Chainsaw swords again. I think that's another live stream bingo at this point. I think I've answered this a lot. Short version is there's no way you're not going to make it bulky as hell. Even with a very small power source, high tech and all that, it would still add quite a bit of extra bulk and weight. Have you read your current net worth in 2021? No, I have not, but it's probably insane. In fact, I randomly saw on some other website also something completely insane where I'm supposed to make like $1 million or so a year on YouTube just from ad revenue. Yeah. Sure. I wish. I do not know where these websites get their estimates for how much YouTubers earn. It's completely and utterly ridiculously off. It's amazing. Which sword would you wear to a formal event? The prettiest I have, which is, I think it's the Lockwood 1019B, because the bronze guard and pommel makes it particularly nice, in my opinion. But I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Anyway, thank you, the Mornhammer and Diva22 and Arnab, but I don't want to butcher your name. I'm just going to stick to Arnab. So yeah, thank you. Except for Falchion, which curve blade will you take to battle if you have no other choice? Except for Falchion? Well, you made it very easy for me. The Kriegsmesser, of course. You made it quite easy. What would you do if you really earned $1 million from YouTube? Move back to Vancouver Island and buy a house. Apparently houses are now starting at $1.2 million. At least if they have, a little bit of land. And by a little bit, I mean, an acre. Nothing crazy like 20 acres or whatever. Yeah. If someone sneak attacked you right now, how would you defend? Do you have any weapon in reach? Well, if somebody showed up behind me right now to attack me, for one, they would get a cup or half a cup full of diet root beer in the face to distract them while I duck behind the chair. And then I don't actually have a weapon right now, so I suppose I would have to use the microphone with a stand as an improvised one. At least until I grab one of the folding knives up there. But realistically, if somebody actually sneak attacked me without botching it, what would I do? Die. It's the nature of sneak attacks. Ambushes are very difficult to deal with. And streaming right now wouldn't really help me much because I see what's to the side of me. I don't see what's behind me. I mean, a little bit, but that's not enough to react in time. So, yeah. Thank you, Zarko. Hope you have a good day and stay safe. Sorry for bothering, though. Bothering? You just threw a bit of money at me with a super chat and you apologize for bothering? Wow. Anyway, thank you, and same to you. I hope you'll also have an enjoyable day. Are politics in Canada relatively relaxed? That's how it seems from here in America. In general, not really. We have problematic politics too. Compared to the US, yeah. Comparatively very relaxed, I would say that. Who would win in a fight between Chad, Matt, and the Metatron? How would I know that? The thing is, I don't think I've seen the Metatron spar. I've seen one video where Shad did a bit of HEMA practice. That was a while ago, so I don't know where he's at now. I would guess probably Matt because he's an instructor. I don't think the other two are. Again, just based on what I know. Do you feel more motivated as of late? No. If anything, less, but I grind through it anyway. It's a bit of a struggle every day to, muster motivation and come up with ideas, etc. But in my humble opinion, I think I've been doing a pretty decent job anyway. Do you have 2 cups of coffee? The question some of you people ask. It's like, is this what you need to know right now? Like, is this what's occupying your mind? Coffee cup, soda cup. There you go. Okay, this is enough now. You've spammed, the vaccine is gonna kill us all, question mark, exclamation point, blah, blah, blah. That's enough. You keep spamming. I'm gonna time you out. If you keep spamming after that, you're banned. A bunch of children. Yes, live stream with cups. Have you ever played Anvil of Dawn? I can't say that I have. Do you smoke? No, I don't. Never have. If you could go back to the past, what time period would you go? If I can return back to the present, that's the important part. Probably Paleolithic times. I would like to learn more about it because we have very limited sources. Greetings from Germany. Greetings to you, Perry Hotter, and thank you. Have you ever attended a historical reenactment? I have not. I mean, like way back in the early 2000s, I went to a Ren Fair or two, but just as a visitor, so. Huh. Since somebody brought up Sword Sage, Matt versus Sword Sage, that would be interesting. Saber versus Jin. Kind of cool. But don't ask me who would win. I have no idea. Can somebody explain this thumbnail? What's there to explain? A meme is supposed to be self-explanatory, and I believe this one is. But if I have to, a lot of people who think they're giving constructive criticism are terrible at it because they're just throwing out very vague things like cringe. This is one of the prime examples of criticism being completely non-constructive Because in order for criticism to be constructive, you have to actually explain, give reasons to why you didn't like it, what exactly you think is wrong with it, how something was objectively done poorly. And if you can't, then because the point of constructive criticism is to give artists and creators, etc., a chance to improve. If you're just like, it's cringe, or I didn't like it, that doesn't help anyone. You're free to express your opinion, but it doesn't help anyone. It's useless, Hi from the UK. Hey, old scarf, and thanks. Just got my longsword yesterday. Nice. What is it? I mean, a longsword, obviously, but which maker? Could you do tests with a better atlatl in the future? Better how? I mean, the one that I made was not particularly pretty to look at, but I'm not sure there's a whole lot you can do to improve its function. The performance is really more in the dart than in the atlatl itself. I mean, if you go with the type that has stones attached to it for additional weights, maybe you can tweak them a little extra, but normally, as long as you've got the right length, I don't think there's a whole lot more you can improve. Maybe I'm wrong. I could always be wrong. Sorry, I didn't get it. Was a meme. Oh, okay. I mean, fair enough. This meme format is kind of old. The demotivational poster. Guess I'm dating myself with that. Fuck's sake, you're so annoying when you go on about people not giving So not giving constructive criticism, I mean? You mean like you just failed to do? By just saying I'm annoying without being specific about it? Yeah, good job, bro. Like, what's annoying about pointing out that as a creator, I need specifics? I can't work with cringe. Like, if you find that annoying, then maybe there's something wrong with your attitude. Just saying. I mean, if I'm being an asshole right now, if I'm in a weird mood or whatever, that could be. Sometimes I'm in a bit of a weird mood where I get a little overly combative. But I don't know, I think that's reasonable enough. I mean, point out why I'm wrong right now or why I'm being an asshole or whatever, and we can talk about it. I'm willing to consider, but I need a little bit more than just, you're annoying. I can't stand Metatron. Why is that? What has he done to you? Thank you, Gokul, and Simply SK Knife Thrower. What weapon requires most skill? I would argue flexible weapons. I don't find them very good, very practical or effective, but they require a lot of practice. So arguably they require the most skill. Other than that, rapier comes to mind. A longsword as well, really. Nope, you're doing great. Haters gonna hate. I mean, yeah, but criticizing without giving remedy isn't constructive. It's merely useless bitching. Yeah, I mean, you're expressing yourself and you're free to express yourself, but it doesn't really do anything, right? You being an arrogant ass is why I subscribed to you in the first place. How am I being an arrogant ass? I've always deliberately tried not to be arrogant. So I'd be interested to know what in your eyes makes me seem arrogant. I've seen some weird statements like, your voice makes you sound arrogant, and I'm like, what? My voice? What is it about my voice? I mean, right now I probably sound a little bit, I don't know, sarcastic or whatever, but I'm just trying to understand, like, what is that supposed to mean, you know? Hi from Slovakia. Do you want to own a Valashka? I used to, actually. I reviewed one back in, I don't know, 2014, I think. So yeah, let's see if anybody has anything. I do believe that was a joke. I mean, yeah, it could be. Thing is, I'm honestly interested in self-improvement. So, and I don't want people to just, just kiss my ass and be like, yeah, everything you do is cool. No, I want you to point out when I'm, when I'm being a dick or when I'm not doing something suboptimally, but I need specifics, I don't think that's unreasonable to ask for, right? Okay, it was a joke. Well, all right then. I've heard it, though. I've heard it from others or seen it. So unless they also were joking and didn't make it clear, somebody apparently thinks... I think that really comes from the way I talk about his fantasy weapons and, fight scenes and stuff. I suppose that can come across as arrogant because anytime you're criticizing something or mocking something, it may come across that way. So, yeah, I don't know. Strangely, from what I can see... Oh, there he is. I'm not a hater. Stop hating on me. But then stop posting nonsense. How about that? $1.41 million subscribers. Whatever attitude you have, it is working. I wouldn't go by the majority thing, because there are some people on YouTube that are like certifiable douche canoes and are just horrible human beings and don't even make great content and somehow manage to get millions of subscribers. So I wouldn't go by that personally. You can't please all the people all the time. Oh, absolutely. That's the road to madness, actually, to try that. But, yeah. But I can still look for things, because sometimes people do make good points. And, I can learn from that. What matters is if he's happy with the content he produces. Well, what matters is if the viewers are happy with the content, right? I mean, both matter. The creator also has to be happy with their own content. Otherwise, they're just not really going to be in it. Both matter. You should not be bothered with pleasing others. I'm not. I mean, to the extent that I want to create enjoyable content, that's what concerns me. But I'm mainly concerned with improving myself as far as I can. And sometimes other people's input is very helpful because they have a different perspective, May not have some biases that I might have myself. Will you review a Qatar? What's your thought about the weapon? And Rumi might be the hardest weapon to wield, just saying. Yeah, like I said, flexible weapons in general are very difficult. And unfortunately, I cannot review a Qatar because they are prohibited in Canada. They apparently fall under the push dagger prohibition because it's defined as a weapon with the edge perpendicular to the handle. So yeah, sucks, but I can't get one. Do you still have the Nagamaki? Nope. I've come to the conclusion that it does indeed suck. It wasn't just me. Yeah, the Qatar is not legal in Canada, but a longsword is. It's not even that. Like, it's even funnier. You know, the Qatars are illegal, but you can have firearms. You can legally own semi-auto shotguns and all kinds of stuff. So it's ridiculous. Don't feed the trolls. They multiply like tribbles and are just as useless. Actually, at least tribbles are fuzzy and soft and kind of cute. That cannot be said about trolls, so tribbles are actually worth more. But anyway, thank you. You should go for a walk today, maybe duel someone. We are actually planning, maybe, to go out. Depends on, I mean, it just started snowing again, so yeah. Maybe, maybe not, but I've heard you say you used to play Diablo 2. Would you ever do a video on D2 weapons like you did with Zelda Breath of the Wild? Thank you, by the way, Andrew. Well, I really don't think there's much point to it. Because with Breath of the Wild, I could point out a few practical ones, you know? In Diablo 2, I would be hard pressed to find much that is particularly realistic. You know, particularly all like the stuff, you know, like barbarian dual wielding gigantic great swords. It's just, hmm. I love your historical videos most, like the ones about the Coup de Jarnac and Ötzi. Do you have more stuff like that in the works? Not currently. I just finished the one that I uploaded yesterday about some historical weapons that look like fantasy. There's one video about a Viking helmet that I've had on the list for a while. I don't know yet when that's gonna happen. Oh boy, it's starting to scroll really fast. Does a sharp wooden Qatar classify as a real Qatar? I don't know, honestly. I don't think the material is specified in the wording of the law. Falks or the kukri you owned, which one is more reliable in the long run? Reliable? I mean, they are both almost indestructible because they both have quite thick blades and a sturdy edge. So I don't really see much of a difference there in terms of reliability. If I had to pick between the two, I would go for the Falks. Unless I need it as a tool, because obviously the kukri is a better tool. But, yeah. I'm wondering, can you actually buy swords from Wish? I hope not. Do you think a very large person like Andre the Giant could use a great sword one-handed? Probably, yeah. But certainly not dual wielding. Because it's still going to be kind of bulky. And I feel like somebody of that size needs something that's proportioned a little differently. Like the handle probably has to be a little bit larger for his gigantic hands. Yes, you can buy swords from Wish. Oh my goodness. Never ever do that. Can you isn't the question. Should you is a better one? Yes. Yes, you can do all kinds of things that you really shouldn't. You know, like get a coffee cocaine enema. That's probably not a good idea. Just saying. How does the Gnunting compare to the Falks? I mean, they seem somewhat similar at first glance because they both have a forward curvature, but they handle very differently. The Gnunting is the more agile one between the two, but the Falks hits harder. So basically, it depends on whether you're dealing with armor or not. I think against armor, I'd rather have the Falks. Unarmored, particularly in confined spaces, probably rather the Gnunting. So almost like what they were designed to, be used for. Speaking of which, is there something in medieval times that could help people stay awake and be energetic, like coffee and tea? That's a good question. I have no idea. I like the question, but couldn't say. I've never looked into that. I'd be surprised if they had nothing like that. What is your average day like? I get up, have a quick breakfast, start work, have lunch around between 12 and 1 usually, back to work, and yeah, how long it takes varies from day to day. Sometimes I manage to get a workout in between, and I go out for a bike ride or lift some weights a little bit, and yeah. Then on some days, if it's an editing intensive video, it might take me until, I don't know, 8 or so in the evening. It can vary, depending on what I've got to do at the time. Sometimes I've got to drop off packages or whatnot. Not every day is the same, but lately this has been kind of the tendency. And then in the evening, the two of us just chill out, play some Grim Dawn, or watch the Orville. That's been kind of what's been going on lately. What motivates you to upload consistently? I just have a schedule. I have specific days. I always upload or publish on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Sometimes I swap Friday and Saturday, but generally it's those two. And it's just fixed. There's no negotiating it. Those are the upload days, period. Someone says that is a wonderful question. Which one? Let's see. Can I find it further up? I'm not seeing the username that you're replying to there. There it is. Do you ever miss the presentness of history that comes with living in Europe? Yeah, I know. Actually, yes, I do. Just feeling the age of the place, old buildings and leftover ruins and all of that. Yeah, I do miss that sometimes. You just don't have that in North America. Like here, if you see a 150-year-old house, it's like, whoa, it's old. So yeah, I do miss that. You seem to have a lot of reviews pending. What makes you say that? I actually do not, because right now I can't test anything. That's the problem. I don't have a good location for it, and probably won't for at least a few months. Sucks, but it is what it is. Would you choose a longsword over a spear, and why? I would if I was moving in or expecting to be in confined spaces. Now, the spear is great, but really only if you're in an open field, if you have enough space to use it. If not, then the longsword is by far a better option. If you might have to end up fighting in a building of some sort, then yeah, definitely longsword. Or in an alley or whatever, anything. Even in a forest, potentially, depending on how dense it is. We're getting the secret testing video. How long will Skull's patience last until he gets the urge to cut test things again? Well, it doesn't matter if I have it. I just can't do it right now. So it's kind of a moot point. Didn't even know you did live streams. Whoa. This is like the, I don't know, 50th stream or something. I don't know exactly. I've streamed a lot, actually. And it's always a chaotic mess with me being tongue-tied and whatever, jumping from one topic to the other because I'm just going by what people are asking, at the time. So, yeah. Okay, I just got an email from someone unable to do a super chat. Tried to donate super chat a few times, but it didn't work. All right. Let's see. Please make a video with visual presentation why 6 to 10 kilogram swords are not as effective and why more mass doesn't mean more damage, even for strong people. I'm pretty sure I've done that before, although it's probably a while ago, meaning a few years, maybe even quite a few years. I can't do anything to prove them. I dragged them down from 50 kilogram swords to 10 to 20. But now I can't go lower. They just say strong people could use 10 kilogram swords effectively. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, visual demonstration. Here's the problem with that. You can't really. If those people you basically can't convince. If you point them, like if you show them historical swords and show them the fact that they were all pretty light, they might still cling to, no, but if you're really strong. Yeah, because there weren't strong fighters in history, or what? Like, what's your point? But they will still cling to it. And if you do any kind of demonstration where you just wield a super heavy sword just to show how clunky it is, guess what they'll say? Oh, you're just too weak. You're not strong enough. Give it to like the greatest strongman ever. That's how it goes. Give it to the Mountaineer, give it to Robert Oberst or whatever, and they will never be satisfied. So just ignore them, quite frankly. If they are that willfully ignorant and you've tried to educate them by showing them the actual real life weight of historical swords and they still don't believe it, then it's a lost cause. What can you do? And yeah, there's always the argument that even if you can technically hoist it up and drop it on someone, that does not mean you can fight effectively with it. Because you need to be able to move quickly enough to respond to what the opponent is doing. Because otherwise you end up with the Dark Souls kind of mechanic where they just hoist it up and there comes the super telegraphed attack where they drop a gigantic sword and you just easily dodge it and run at them and stab them in the ribs 10 times. It's just... But yeah, it is what it is. So heavy sworders are stubbornly, willfully ignorant as flat earthers. Almost. That they finish making the Khopesh staff. I did pronounce it right the first time. I don't know what my problem is. Anyway, yes. The only issue is that, like I mentioned, I don't have any place to test it currently, which is driving me nuts. But yeah, it's going to take probably a couple of months until I'm able to do anything with it. I could only do a first impression so far, but I'm not sure how useful that is really. So it's just kind of a tease at that point. It is a pretty shitty situation right now, but all we can do is try to resolve it as quickly as possible. Have you ever twisted or hurt your wrist while handling a saber of any origin? I remember a few occasions in Polish saber sparring where my wrist hurt a bit afterwards, but it's just kind of, if you exercise every now and then, something will ache or hurt, or it's just, that's kind of part of it. Moved to Red Deer. My friend got a house really cheap. It's not necessarily just about cheap house as in cheap buying price, because the thing is, with the house that we lived in for a year, it was a reasonable price, but then we found out all the costs that come with it, because it was a fixer-upper in disguise, and it's just, the running costs were insane. So that in of itself isn't necessarily enough, but yeah, I mean, you can always find another place somewhere in the Hicks, in the middle of nowhere, where it's going to be cheaper, but I also don't want to be quite that remote. God damn it. You keep ignoring my question. And of course, that one is the one that I happen to see. Yeah, that's great. Is the Falchion from That Works your favorite weapon? No. My favorite is still the Knecht. What is with my damn vocal cords? Why did leaf-shaped blades fall out of fashion almost completely? I don't know. Fashion. Sometimes it's as simple as that. You know, people often are looking for practical reasons for either why a particular design didn't appear earlier in history, or why a particular design disappeared at a certain point in history. Sometimes it's as simple as things change. You know, culture changes, preferences change. Of course, armor changes too. That's part of it. Equipment overall. So sometimes it has to do with the equipment. Other times it's literally just, you know, a new cultural direction, if you will. You know, why does fashion change? Like, clothing doesn't change for practical reasons. It just changes because, you know, just people try out something new, I guess. And then it sticks, essentially. Don't move to Texas. Yeah, don't worry. No risk of that happening. It's how you work with the Canadian War Museum. If they offered you some sort of position, would you take that? No, I would not. For one, it would mean having to move to Ontario, which I don't want to. And also, I'm happy doing what I do now, so. Can you have a leaf shape arming sword or longsword? Yes. In fact, Angus Trim has made. He seems to like the leaf shape. He's done that quite a lot. I've seen reproduction arming swords and long swords with leaf shape, and there's nothing wrong with them. Would a heavy tool, example sledgehammer, large pickaxe, etc., be a weapon that was used during the Middle Ages, or was it just too practical? The latter, too impractical. I actually made a video where I tested a pickaxe, just a standard tool pickaxe on a zombie head, and the thing is so clunky and unwieldy and short compared to pole arms that even if you're a particularly strong guy, it's just terrible. They're just unwieldy for fighting. They're not designed for that. In general, anytime you have an item that is purpose built for what you want to do with it versus an improvised one that's designed for a different purpose, it's going to be worse. It is what it is. That is why they purposely designed weapons in a certain way. How about testing a Nagambe Ngulu? I hope it's not illegal there. Let me see. Probably not. Oh, that one, yeah. I mean, if I could get my hands on a reproduction, that would be pretty cool. But I don't think anybody makes reproductions of those. Never seen that. And I would not really want to get an antique for practical tests and then risk damaging it. I'd rather not. But it would be interesting for sure. Would a long sword made of bronze be functional? I don't think so. Such a long blade would be very likely to bend if made of bronze. Unless you make it thicker than usual, at which point it becomes clunkier to handle. So probably not. Thanks, James. Skull is tall and he can beat Darth Maul. He can swing a sword and he knows the word. He has long hair. If you fight him, say a prayer. Thank you for the super chat, but that was horrible. that gave me cancer. Gotta be honest. Thoughts on peasant flails? I mean, I made one myself, and it was better than I expected. I gotta say that. I still prefer just a solid pole, be it a quarterstaff or a pole arm or whatever. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Bullshit. It's fine. Streamlabs says your stream quality is good. It's just YouTube screwing up. Any thoughts on the Chinese chain whip? Similar as with other flexible weapons, I don't particularly like flexible weapons. It's just they have a way of kind of bouncing back at you, and you have to hit them at just the right point. Otherwise, they just kind of curl around and don't do as much damage, etc. I think Skull answered my comment right when YouTube gave me an ad. Damn. So YouTube actually shows ads during a live stream? What? I would expect that it only does that on the recording of it, not while it's going on. That's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, like Lundgren points out there, you can rewind. You can rewind and then click back on live. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Do you still keep in touch with the people from the old HEMA club, and how are they doing? Yeah, every now and then. I tend to get busy and distracted, but occasionally I check in with a few of them. But I have to admit I'm pretty bad at keeping in contact with people long distance without meeting up with them. It kind of sucks. Got up earlier than me. I just got up myself. Yeah, I got up at like, I don't know, shortly after 8. Which is kind of unreasonable on a Sunday, I guess, but whatever. To hell with this, I'm leaving. Okay. I don't know what your problem is, but don't let the door hit you in the back, I guess. I don't know where that came from, but oh well. He's still looking into getting a suit of armor. Nope. Too expensive, not worth it. Also, my weight fluctuates too much. If I got a suit of armor made for me, chances are in a few months I wouldn't fit into it anymore. Because it's a thing. I put on weight, I lose it, I put it back on, I lose it, etc., etc. Look, I'm not religious. I'm trying to ask a reasonable question about a really weird glaive. Well, then ask it. Don't tell me that you're trying to ask a question. Just ask it. It's random. You have to understand. It's random which comments I see. Look at the chat. Look at how many comments there are. I cannot read every single one of them. So just getting aggravated if I don't see something and then complaining about it doesn't help. Just telling you. I cut myself in the knee wielding a saber. How about you? Oof. That doesn't sound nice. I've never cut myself with a sword. Are you getting fat on purpose? You're one of those people that are just... I don't understand what your thought process is. What made you post that? Who gets fat on purpose? I mean, maybe some people do. Maybe I'm just... But for me, it's very hard to imagine. Like, I've struggled with it my entire life. Always struggled with the food addiction every day of my life. I cannot imagine how anyone could possibly deliberately... I mean, I know some people are underweight and it's hard for them to eat. But for me, this is impossible to really imagine. Anyway. You don't owe these clowns a serious answer. Well, sometimes I see something and I react to it at the moment because I'm like, huh? You know, sometimes you just have that reaction. And then I react to it before I think about, this is a good use of time. But it doesn't matter. It's a live stream. You know, this is not about an effective use of time. This is just, you know, random shenanigans. Uh-oh. Invasion! Mm-hmm. Okay, I never know how it's pronounced. I think it's like Maciejowski or something. The Morgan Bible, Falchion. That's all he said. So I don't know what the question is. It's just that Falchion. It's weird. That's what what I have to say about it. It's weird. There are several manufacturers have made reproductions of that one. I've never handled it, And I don't think that any blade like that has been found, by archaeologists. So it's quite a weird thing, but at the same time, there's a number of choppers with some variations in blade shapes that still accomplish the same thing. I mean, it's still clearly a blade heavy chopper made for maximum impact, if you will. Powerful cleaving cuts. That's what I'm saying. So I would imagine it works. Of course, my typical thing is I don't like that there is no guard, but you don't always need one. I will grant you that. So yeah, it's interesting. And I would expect it to work. That's about all I can say. All caps isn't the way to get positive attention from Skallagrim. That's very true. I actually deliberately ignore anything that's typed in all caps. Just so you know. Don't shout at me. You're not getting anywhere. Would a push spear be legal to test in Canada? What's a push spear? I don't know. Do you only seem like a perfect couple, or is it true? It's true. 100%. And I say that unironically, no sarcasm. Aren't all spears push spears? I mean, yeah. I have never seen a pull spear, so Do you still have the shot reaver cleaver from like I don't know how many years ago? No, I do not. But I have the whole one, the one that they made with the don't shoot, no bullet sign on it. How common was irregular / guerrilla warfare during the medieval period? I can't tell you for sure. I mean, you've always had ambushes. I don't think that counts as guerrilla warfare necessarily. Just get partial armor. Even then, it still needs to be fitted to your body. And if my body composition keeps changing, there's really no point. I mean, that's why I got a helmet. That's the only thing that doesn't change. My head size doesn't change. The rest tends to. I mean, my hands don't change either, but other than that. Since full plate European is out of reach for you due to the valid reason you mentioned, you should look into a full Viking attire to go with that sweet helm of yours. Yeah, I mean, it's still the same problem. Clothing also needs to fit. So if I got a full set now, hopefully at the end of the year, it's going to be way too large for me. So it's not really a good time for that right now. I don't know if it's ever going to be, because I hope to at some point be able to hold a slim weight, but my track record is not good. So I don't know if I'll ever manage. I was just baptized in the Orthodox Church yesterday and got communion today. Here's a donation from the heart for good measure. All right, thank you, Atlarky. Perpendicular handle to the shaft. Oh, you mean like a shovel? So basically like a shovel spear. Here's the thing. I can see where you're going with that. The idea is that it's easier to push this way because it's kind of like a punching motion as opposed to this way. But here's the problem. You would lose a lot of functionality of the spear because part of what you do with the spear is you change the position of the hands. For example, if somebody tries to rush in, you choke up with the bottom hand so you can strike with the butt end of the spear, or you can hook with the butt end, or you can parry with it. There are a lot of uses for the handle, for the the haft below the hand. You want that. So if you don't have that, if the spear shaft ends here and you hold it like this, you don't have any of that. It just makes it more limited, and I don't think that's a good idea. You're just taking away options. So, I do not think so. How's your Skallagrim doing, by the way? I hope you still have it. Yes, I still have it, and it's not doing much. It's on the shelf. I mean, I can't do any cutting currently. So, yeah. You ever been exposed to Filipino martial arts? Not directly, not in person. I've seen some demonstrations and some sparring in videos, but that's all. And cutting as well. Test cutting. Did you see the Mandalorian spear and how they are fighting with it? Nope, I have not seen it. The intro picture was deceptive. Was it though? There have been some instances of failed constructive criticism in the comments. So, was it really? Eh? I feel like that meme always applies whenever you do anything on the internet. Whenever you express yourself, whenever you create anything, just any kind of behavior, basically. Someone is waving their hand from outside the window. I mean, people are doing things outside. I'm sure it happens. Where do you live? It's so snowy. Nova Scotia. This actually, we haven't had a lot of snow. Last year was a lot worse. Like we had, I think, we had two other occasions before, earlier when there was snow, but it disappeared within a week. Maybe this time it might stay for longer, we'll see. We will see. Problem there is assuming that any internet criticism is intended to be constructive. It's a mighty large assumption. Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's probably just wishful thinking. It's maybe I'm being too idealistic. Are you going to upload this and all future streams on your other channel? Nope, I am not. Since most soldiers had some armor, wouldn't that negate bow use? Nope, definitely not. Now, like I talked about in... which video was that? How was it titled? Right, why armor did not make knights invincible or something like that. I talked about during the 100 Years' War. between England and France, how English longbowmen were still a danger to the French, even though the French knights were fully armored in a suit of plate, because there's still a chance, even though the arrows cannot penetrate the plate directly, there's still a chance that they strike gaps in the armor, or find opening in the visor, or anybody stupid enough to leave their visor open. I mean, I know it's not stupid. Sometimes they raise the visor to be able to see better and breathe better, and you might catch an arrow at an unlucky time. So yeah, if you have less than plate, it's even more of a thing. Like there's going to be spots that are less well armored or somewhat open, etc. So if you run or ride through a hail of arrows, something is likely going to hit somewhere. Nice icy moss. How historically accurate is the Lord of the Rings? I made a video about that. You can look it up. A lot of buffering from the stream. Yeah, I know. It's telling me supposedly YouTube is not receiving enough video, blah, blah, blah. But that seems stupid because according to Streamlabs, it's all good. There are hardly any dropped frames. It's, the bandwidth is good, stream quality is good. I think YouTube is just being a bitch right now, quite frankly. You could also try refreshing. Sometimes that helps. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Depends on the armor. Not all soldiers could afford top-of-the-line armor. That's the other thing. No data. Okay. I just did that and it reset and it still says it's not receiving enough video. What? That's all I can do on my end. There's definitely something wrong with YouTube right now. That's a bit ridiculous. I don't know what's going on. It's not on my end, I can definitely tell you that. Oh well. Want to know more about dueling culture? I made a video about that not long ago. I forgot the exact title, but if you search dueling on my channel, you should find it. Dueling or just duels. I heard others were having problems online today too. Alright. I guess that's it then. Refreshing help from me. Okay. That's something. Is it possible to parry like Dark Souls in real life? Sort of. Parries, of course, are a thing. Deflectional parries as well as static blocks, and you wouldn't stun the opponent by doing that, but it gives you a brief window of opportunity for a counter. And there's also single tempo counters where you defend against an attack while counterattacking at the same time. Are you happy you aren't shoveling snow off your front porch right now? Yeah, that is kind of nice. But it still sucks to be stuck in an apartment, so there's that. What was your education? Bachelor's degree in cultural anthropology. If I pay for YouTube Premium and watch your videos, maybe you know how the profit you make is count. Is it better or worse for you? I do see YouTube Premium revenue listed separately, so yeah, it does help. Worked YouTube, but had to watch an ad again. It sucks that YouTube puts so many ads on a live video. So the idea of knocking aside their blow and then stabbing them is legit, I would guess. Yeah. It's not quite the same. It's the same way it's shown, but it's doable. Stream didn't and physically can't die. It was never alive to begin with. Indeed, the undead stream. A sneak peek for ideas on the next shop video. I mean, I have several ideas. One is a Karen walks into a plate shop. I don't know yet how to do that. Like, I don't yet know exactly what angle. There was another one. Where is it? I have a list of things. Right, like an actual experienced warrior walks into a blade shop, maybe. I'm not yet sure if that would really be funny, but yeah, there's ideas. Good to know. If I get paid jobs again, I will get YouTube Premium then, on top of Patreon, of course. Thank you, but hey, don't worry about it. You really don't have to. Take care of your own finances first. I'm just saying I appreciate it and I love your content. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your appreciation. Appreciation. No, I can't do that. I was just gonna go with appreciation's inception, but that you can't really do a good pun with that. I feel like an anti-weapon pacifist walks into a blade shop. That's kind of the main idea that I had with the Karen thing. A perception? No, that doesn't work. Anyway, conspiracy theorist walks into a blade shop? Maybe. A Canadian lawmaker walks into a blade shop. That is basically the same as a Karen. Basically. I mean, I guess in this case it would be a Kyle, or as a Kevin. No, I think the male equivalent of a Karen is a Kevin. Or I don't know. Can't even remember how long I've been subbed to you. It's great to see that you still love what you're doing. I'm happy for you. Thank you. And it's good to see that you're still around. You plan on updating your arsenal. Does downsizing count as updating? If so, then yes. It's nice listening to your stream when doing homework. Well, hopefully it's not too distracting. It's the most tragic thing I've heard all day. What? I've ever seen a very fast shower shooting ability? The world's fastest archer first time? No, I have not. What's the next weapon you plan on buying? None right now. I have too much stuff. I try to get rid of more. Don't really want to add anything on top of it for a while. Armored Skeptic walks into a blade shop in full battle armor. Collaboration video, maybe? I don't know about that. What was the most interesting thing you learned during your studies in cultural anthropology, and do you keep up with new papers in the field? I don't keep up with it, I just don't have time for that. But just generally, I enjoyed seeing just how different things can be that we take completely for granted. That different cultures have a completely different perspective on, you know. There are certain things that we just take absolutely for granted. And they're really not. Like, for example, how privacy works, you know. I remember there was one case of an anthropologist moving into a longhouse. Oh, I can't even remember where it was. I think it was Oceania somewhere, but I can't remember exactly where. Either that or somewhere around Indonesia. It's been a long time since I read that, but I remember situation was this long house. You had several apartments basically, and they did not have very solid walls. It was I think it was like a wicker construction or something, and the walls weren't completely closed. There were openings in that and whatnot. And so the archaeologist, of course, having a Western background, wanted some privacy. So she started kind of stacking things like her personal belongings in front of those openings in the walls. And her neighbor just started to kind of accidentally knock them over and over again because they did not approve of that. And eventually she found out that there is a certain form of privacy in that, in the sense that because everybody, there's constantly sound traveling through the entire longhouse, basically. So people don't actually pay direct attention to each other because they just kind of coexist in that. And they kind of get used to that and basically mostly ignore what's happening. Aside from when there's an emergency. Like at one point she got, I think, malaria or something, and got really sick and just couldn't get up out of bed, and it just was incapacitated basically. And the other people noticed that she didn't turn a light on. Normally they lit, candles or lanterns or whatever every evening. And you can see through the longhouse all the other lights, basically. So the others noticed that the light wasn't on, and then checked on her and found that she was sick. So it's one of those things. Uh, Perspective matters. It sure does. I could not imagine that personally. I mean, she says she got used to it, but for me, that would be nightmare material. I'm just too introverted. I can't even stand this right here. I mean, this is a steel and concrete building, so there is soundproofing, but the neighbors are so damn loud, you hear them anyway. You hear screeching kids and barking dogs and stomping and who knows what. And I can't tolerate that. It's really annoying. But oh well. Is Cossack swordplay part of HEMA? It depends on what you mean. I've seen some sword demonstrations where it's more like a dance, like a sword dance. There's a lot of twirling going on and such. That would not be. But if there's sources from that area and the time period that you can go by, I'm not aware of any. But if there are any and you practice fighting based on that, then sure, that would be HEMA. Think of how smell would travel through wicker walls, yeah. I don't know for sure if I remember correctly if it was wicker or if it was something else. I don't think it was just wicker. It might have been like the base construction might have been wicker, and then maybe they put clay over top. It's been so long since I read that I really can't remember the details. All I remember is that it was not a complete wall, and it was permeable to sound and light to an extent, and yeah, you can partially see the neighbor through it. Not like totally open, but I said partially. As a city dweller, has always lived within 20 feet of the nearest people for basically my entire life. Yeah, close quarters suck. I mean, some people could do it. Some people even prefer it, but everybody's different, right? Have you ever shot a Peter Solly Sharps rifle? I have not, no. I looked into it for a while and, looked up videos and reviews, but didn't get it. Do you ever fantasize about being in a part of a historical battle? No. I'm not even going to continue. Maybe I should continue the sentence just to see how well you would fare. No. Nope. Absolutely not. I think too many people just vastly underestimate the horror of war, be it in history or now or any time really. There's nothing desirable about it ever. And especially not just as a test. No. That is not an experience you would ever want to have. Had to switch to my laptop. Now the stream is fine. Okay. I don't know what's going on with that. What adjustments could Conor McGregor have made last night? I didn't see any fight that he might have had, and even if I did, I'm not an unarmed martial arts expert, so I'm not sure why you're asking me that. You could ask, for example, what's his name? Ramsey Dewey, for example. But not me. Oh, it is you. You are the random sword geek. Yes. Who would have thought? I think archers fared a little better in war. I feel like that's a mixed bag. Because, yeah, they could have if they were able to just stay at a distance. But, for example, sometimes in the 100 Years' War, they actually, at a certain point in the battle when the French knights closed in, they actually discarded their bows and drew their whatever weapons they had and jumped into the fray. So they also had to fight hand to hand. And, of course, being an archer, if the enemy cavalry gets you, you're done. Who else wants the thumbnail in high resolution? Well, I can't do that because this is a picture taken back in, I don't know, 2008 or 9, I think. Maybe 10. No, I think it's 2009 probably. So that was not HD and I cannot upscale it. I cannot add pixels. Me and our HEMA club are finally getting new armor and outfits for medieval fairs, and we have this one guy who really wants a historically accurate messer wielding set. Huh? Messer wielding set? I mean, if you're just asking for accurate messer reproductions, depends on should they be blunt or sharp. I mean, either way, Landsknecht Emporium does both. They can make the blades blunt and they can make them sharp, so... What metals are bad for weapons? Basically anything other than steel, iron, bronze. I mean, you can make copper blades, and as Vaughn pointed out just today, even brass, if you hammer it and sharpen it, it's okay, but it's certainly not ideal. Essentially, now, if you look at it nowadays, anything other than steel, because we have high quality crucible steel now that's superior to anything they had in history, and yeah, it is what it is. Bronze is decent, but of course it can't compete with steel. Same with iron. So anything other than that is bad. Titanium does not make for a good material. It's great for some purposes, like airplanes. But blades, not so much. I once had an argument in the comment section with someone who said that there must be some futuristic alloy that is better than steel for weapons. Why though? I mean, could there be at some point something discovered? I doubt it though, because as far as alloys is concerned, I mean, steels are still being tweaked. Stainless steel alloys we got over the past 10 or 20 years. We got some advancements. We got better steels. Just are tweaked just slightly more. But it's not a dramatic difference. And it's not an entirely new material. So I really doubt it. Yeah, tungsten would be way too heavy, and I'm not sure it would really take and hold an edge well. Would it improve the cutting action of a sword to conduct electricity through the blade? I don't see how it would. Look at the amount of elements found in the last 100 years. I think it could be possible. It could be, but I do think as far as that is concerned, you hit a technological ceiling at some point. Of course, I can't claim to be able to look into the future, but I would be highly surprised if we suddenly found like a completely new material that changes everything. At least on Earth, maybe out in space somewhere. Yeah, possible, but not probable. That seems like a good way to put it. Because the thing is, if you look at the past 100 years, the technological development doesn't stay constant. At some point, technological development throughout history was first pretty gradual and steady, and then it started accelerating. At some point, it's gonna, plateau, and then the speed is going to decrease again, most likely. It's not going to infinitely just keep increasing and increasing, But it's hard to say, there could, at some point, there could be some sort of revolutionary discovery, like the equivalent of electricity. Discovering electricity was a big deal, obviously. So if something similar to that happened in the future, that could, make a gigantic difference. It's hard to say. I don't find it terribly plausible or likely, but who knows? That's the thing with the future. We have literally no way of saying. I mean, the ways in which people 100 years ago imagined the future are obviously completely off. Everything is very different from what they imagined 100 or 200 years ago. Even 50 years ago, really. If you look at sci-fi that is set around the early 2000s or 2020s or what have you, is of course very different from how the world is now. We don't have flying cars, we don't have a moon base, we don't have etc. But we have things that they did not anticipate, like smartphones. Many new materials have the issue that they are rare, prevents us from using them for mass steel production. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like sometimes you have a material that is technically useful, but so rare or found in such small quantities that you can't really do a whole lot for it. So yeah, we need a moon base. I need a space katana. I doubt there's anything on the moon that you could make a space katana with, but yeah, sounds cool. I made a saber from scrap for destruction. Would you be interested in doing some tests or destruction on it? I don't really have a use for it. Thank you for the offer, but like I said earlier, I don't have any way to test anything currently. I don't have a good location, so can't do it right now and won't be able to do it for at least a few months. Sucks, but it is what it is. There are flying cars. They just suck. Well, aren't there basically upscale drones? I've seen personal transportation drones in... I forgot where exactly. Some part of Asia. But they are not exactly available to the public. Some things are just, they're possible and they exist and they're available, but only for the absolute filthy super rich, Indoor sword testing in confined spaces. Yes, in an apartment. I'm gonna start cutting tatami mats in the apartment and see how long it takes for us to get evicted. They got video calling right. Yeah, that's true, actually. Video calls on phones. Or, well, I mean, sometimes it's on giant screens or whatever in sci-fi. Yeah, they did get that. It's true. Sometimes they accidentally predicted something. I hope things improve soon. Me too. I mean, we're working on it, but it's gonna take a while. Make sure to yell every time you cut to, yeah. It's gonna be real popular here. I mean, I guess that just adds to the nasty smells in here that happen sometimes, because even though smoking is prohibited in this building, we sometimes smell very distinctive weed smell from one of the other apartments somewhere. So yeah, I hate the smell so much. It's disgusting. Anyway, Goblin Slayer. Yeah, that would be great to use in an apartment. Come back to BC. I would like to, but it's too expensive. Can't afford anything there. I've written a short segment describing a suit of fantasy armor that my OC wears. Would you be willing to read it and see what you think of the design? Yeah, if it's short, I can do that. So you can send it on via Discord. And thanks, Angry Clown. Always good to see you around. What's the nasty looking image on the right? It's just frozen moss. Is it nasty? I mean, I guess maybe it does look a little weird. Perhaps. What else do we have here? How about this? How about this? That looks kind of nice, doesn't it? Yes. We'll go with that. Just 'cause. What's what's the best material for sword grip? There's a number. There's a number of hardwoods that work. You know, you can use. I think some people use oak. You can use walnut. You can use. There's quite a lot of things you can use, really. There's also, of course, modern materials that work well. There's G10, for example. You can make handle scales out of metal if you want. Leather, you know, stacked leather, for example. Like on a K-bar. I've never seen that on a sword, but possible. Will you marry me? No, I'm already married, and besides, I'm pretty sure you don't happen to be an attractive female, so get out of here. Wouldn't cuts in battle be pretty ineffective, considering how well gambesons protect against cuts? Well, it depends. I mean, I've done a video with a gambeson test where we had particularly sharp blades, and they did quite well against the gambeson. But thrusts, yeah, against the gambeson, much better. But also don't forget that even if it doesn't cut, like just a blunt impact of a sword strike, especially to the collarbone, for example, that would still be quite injuring. Wouldn't swords become dull very fast in battle? Not really dull, it's more chipped. That's kind of the most likely. Edge damage, basically. If an edge that becomes chipped becomes sort of serrated-ish, so it might be more likely to get stuck on clothing and such. But yeah, I mean, of course the edge is going to suffer, but it should still be able to cut, I would think. Because it's not, you're not going to ruin the edge along the entire usable length of the blade. And I say usable because when you throw a cut, you don't do that with the bottom, like with the strong of the blade, the bottom third. But even the rest of it, you still have some margin for error, if you will. Got a custom helmet. What other piece of gear would you like to get? Nothing at the moment. I have too much clutter. I need to get rid of things rather than pile more on top of it. We move too much. Does Cult of Athena deliver to Saudi Arabia? You can ask them. As far as I know, they deliver worldwide. I don't think they make exceptions, but you can ask them just in case. Man, it's getting even brighter outside, isn't it? Now the sun came out. Overexposure intensifies. Oh well. What can you do? I mean, what can I do? I can change. No, I can't. Never mind. Lost connection. What I can do is change the aperture. Come on. Yeah. Is that better? Maybe. A little bit. I'm not sure they help much, but a bit. What? There, I spent a few seconds adjusting the lens, and I look back at the chat and it's suddenly full of a bunch of nonsensical spam. Huh? What was that? Oh, well. Let's see if I can find something worth responding to in all this. Comes on Dark Sword Armory's Elite Damascus line. I don't know. I don't have any first-hand experience with that. I have had some bad experiences with Dark Sword stuff. Although I have to say, the most recent Viking sword that I tested, that was actually pretty good. But a lot of the others, eh.
Oh.
It emerges. Unleash it. Thanks for being so attentive. Wow. Somebody doesn't know me. Attentive is not a word that applies to me. But thank you anyway. Todd's Workshop has just released a video using your crossbow. Yeah, I know. I sent it back to him for repair so that I can then sell it afterwards. And he asked if he can make a video with it. And I said, sure, of course. So yeah. Do you watch other YouTubers' content? No, not really. I have more than enough to do with my own channel, and I don't have time for it. And then when I do have time, time off, I don't want to. I'm done with it. I don't want to. Yeah, at some point you have to get away from it,
Also, if you have enough spoons left to get through a zombie apocalypse, you're already ahead.
What type of sword would you recommend to buy for a beginner? Anything you're interested in. I don't think there's any sword that's especially suited for a beginner. Whatever interests you, really. Some people will tell you that, yeah, this is more beginner friendly than that. I honestly don't really agree with that. I think the differences are pretty marginal. I will agree that, for example, rapier fencing is more technical than, say, saber. I would say personally. In fact, somebody might even disagree with that. But overall, just whatever you want. I don't think there's anything especially suited to beginners. No.
Yes.
Do not pull. Pushing it, are we? Testing the limits.
That's not really close.
No, it's true.
Yes, it's a very nice outfit. I agree.
What do you like to do when you're not working? Doesn't happen that much. No, I'm kidding. It's not that bad. For a time, I was overworked as hell. Lately, it's not that bad. Well, we like to game. We like to sometimes... I don't really watch stuff very often, but every now and then we get into a series. Like lately, we've been watching The Orville, which is actually really good. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but definitely like it. And sometimes we get out for hikes, stuff like that. But gaming is life. Whenever I have the time for it.
Oh dear gods.
Hmm?
Put like that, if there's fan fiction of the two of us, I'm pretty sure that is not something that should ever be read out loud.
Yeah, it's probably naughty. Can't watch this. We are too cute. What are we even doing right now? Like,
Cuddling.
yeah, I mean, I have a little devil on my shoulder, but otherwise, hey, you're giving them diabetes. Stop it.
No.
Diabetes. Poor Wilford. Fanfics are evil. They can be. The Orville is sometimes more Star Trek than Star Trek nowadays. Yeah, I have to.
We have not seen the latest Star Trek, so the latest
It's
series.
true. I mean, we watched Picard, which was great, but yeah, it didn't feel quite as Star Trek-y. I liked it. It was good, but it wasn't really as Star Trek. I do agree that Orville is actually more Star Trek. And like with a lot of the details as well, I think the music sounds very, very Star Trek-like. And a lot of the themes that they tackle is very much along the lines.
Oh yeah.
Is Nova Scotia much colder than BC? Well, you can't even say BC because Prince George, for example, up in in the north of BC, or northern central, I guess, kind of, gets very cold in winter. Sometimes you can get down to like -30 or -35. Whereas Vancouver Island is super mild. It's much warmer than winter here. So it just depends on exactly where you are. BC is large. Nova Scotia is kind of cold, but not crazy. It's definitely like, if you compare it to, say, Ontario or Alberta or other provinces, it's not super cold. Definitely not. Usually, I think last year the coldest we got was -15. Right?
Yeah, but we were also out in a spot that gets colder.
Yeah, so Halifax itself is probably more like -10 lowest.
Yeah.
So it's really not that cold.
Hi, Luxies. Restore a sword. I doubt it.
Huh?
If you have any plans of restoring a sword.
Restore? No. You need a lot of knowledge and experience to properly restore a sword. Otherwise, you might just screw it up. Wait, was it the Picard was like Star Wars Episode 1? It was so good the first time you saw it. The second time we watched it, suddenly wasn't any good anymore. Was Episode 1 ever good?
How would you know? We haven't watched it.
Yes.
Did we?
A while
Did we
ago,
do
like a
that
long
to
time
us?
ago.
Really? Wow, I must have completely shoved that out of my memory.
It's not worth remembering.
Good.
I mean, still better than the recent garbage, but anyway. But yeah, I mean, we only watched Picard once, so I don't know if it gets worse the second time. But I do have to agree. I do also prefer Orville over. I mean,
Agreed.
it's a bit hard to say because obviously there is some difference in quality between episodes.
Yes.
Like if you compare one of the worst episodes to Picard, then yeah, of course Picard's better. But if you compare the better ones or even the best episodes, then yeah, I feel like you can't really compare a movie to a series directly. It's just individual episodes can be quite a bit different. I've definitely had Orville episodes that made me kind of angry. Well, that were disappointing or whatever, but others were
You
great.
just don't like Gordon.
Yeah. He's just so fucking annoying. I like Isaac. He's just always the voice of reason to counterbalance all the stupid, silly, hairless apes. And I totally agree. Yes, he is objectively superior. It's just humans being irrational. It's just part of it. It's part of being human. What are you doing?
Your hair smells nice today.
What?
It does.
Help! I'm getting bitten.
I feel this is quite a different situation, just saying.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little bit more consent in this. Oh boy. Pretty sure the Rise of Skywalker gave me whiplash. Yeah. I think it might have caused a small tumor in my brain. No, wait. What was that? The one that we watched, or was the other one? No, Rise of Skywalker is the one after the one we watched. Which is the one we watched again? I shoved it out of my mind. I can't even remember the title. Force Awakens?
7, yeah, probably Force Awakens.
Yeah, I think it was Force Awakens. Oh, that was so bad. It hurt. But, oh well. I mean, I've never been a Star Wars fan anyway, as such, so it's just kind of, whatever. What are good materials for weapons other than steel? Like I said just earlier, bronze and iron. That's pretty much it. Like, as far as really good materials are concerned. And those are both obviously inferior to modern steel. You guys smoke? I'd smoke on that balcony. No, we don't. And even if we did, smoking is not allowed in this building. Which I'm okay with. But of course people still smoke weed because potheads. Rise of Skywalker was like watching video game cutscenes without the context of the gameplay. Huh, that's an interesting way to put it. I haven't seen it and I'm definitely not going to. I have been warned. I have a friend who simply can't get over the talking animal stuff in Star Wars. He hates Ewoks? Damn. What else? I think Star Trek needs a true reboot. Not an alternative universe, but a retcon of the entire franchise. Starting over from scratch. Why though? I think that would piss off like 80% of the fans. Probably. I don't know. Wait, yeah, okay. Just making sure that I did not misread it as Star Wars. Because I think if you said that about Star Wars, I could probably agree. Been playing any games lately? Yes, Grim Dawn. You know of any place to get a modern Ika Kalaka? No, I don't know. Not sure anyone has made either a reproduction or a fantasy version or anything, other than just getting something custom made. Yeah, I don't think there's any production of it. What's your favorite metal band? There's plenty, but if I had to pick just one, it would be Therion, probably. Yeah. Paradise Lost is very close. You know, I miss the 80s and 90s in the sense that they had some neat stuff that that they had some neat stuff that disappeared. Oh my goodness, what an intellectual statement. I miss goth in particular. Gothic stuff, because goth is really kind of has become very rare, right? It's very hard to find anyone nowadays. There's still a few around, but I mean, it's not like I have a goth style anymore either. I used to, but I would kind of like to get back to it, but I gotta get rid of all this extra fat first. Just fat goths, just not. I mean, I don't want to talk shit about anyone who is goth and happens to have extra weight on them, but for me personally, it doesn't really fit. Still exists, but it's changed so much that it's not the same anymore. Yeah, I guess. Emo replaced goth. I still refuse to acknowledge emo as anything related to goth. It's not the same. It doesn't belong in there. It's no. I refuse.
Well,
Do not ever. What?
Of course you should, because emo is based on a completely different philosophy as an underpinning.
See?
The underpinning of goth has always been and should be seen as the definition of goth throughout all the different styles we've seen, as finding beauty in darkness. It's a life-affirming statement. Goth don't want to commit suicide. They might get inspired by the aesthetics of it and therefore incorporate it in their style, but as they've even used themselves, or if you want to say it that way, carpe noctem is one of the goth sayings. Use the night, see beauty in decay.
It's the same as with Baroque.
Yeah.
There was all about memento mori, but at the same time carpe diem. But goth turned into carpe noctem, of course, because
Obviously.
edge.
And emo doesn't have the same thing. I mean, the reason why we don't see goth these days is because it has morphed into steampunk.
Yeah, I'm still not really sure if I'm comfortable with counting steampunk under goth. I mean, I like both, don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I know that it is often counted as a sub-form of goth, and I mean, I'm not going to argue it. I'm not going to reject that notion necessarily, but I'm not sure if I fully agree with it. Anyway, to have a cookie from a fellow Canadian. Thank you, Kirk. Come back to Vancouver Island ASAP. You know it's better. Yes, I do, but we cannot fucking afford it. It doesn't help. That's where we left, and it hasn't changed at all. So, yeah. It's frustrating as hell, but what can you do? Love the vids, man. Keep up the awesome work. Will do. Thank you.
No, emo's definitely not based on Nietzsche. I mean, Nietzsche gets bloody misread all the fucking time. That being said, emo is also very misunderstood in and of itself because it's so often seen as this whiny culture, when really, when do we see upswings in emo? When we have very heavy hitting events. Emo became a thing after 9/11 because we had a culture of young people that were pushed in a situation where their future suddenly seemed very bleak. It was an outcry against it, and actually emos are really active in activism normally. A lot of societal change comes from emos, as weird as it sounds, but they're as active as punks were.
Well, since we have one of the rare species of goth in chat right now, what do you think, Gail? Is steampunk goth? Like nowadays, it's very. I very rarely encounter anyone who is goth. So it used to be much more common in the 90s and 80s as well. At least in North America, I'll say that. Might be more common in Europe. I mean, UK is really more punk, or at least used to be. I guess I'm a little out of touch with the old world. Nietzsche is the most misinterpreted or misrepresented philosopher.
Yep.
Hmm.
The man
Probably.
would rotate in his grave if he knew what he had been.
Right,
by.
the whole Ubermensch thing. Oh my goodness, has that been abused and misinterpreted like crazy? Sucks. Okay, someone's saying steampunk's not goth at all. I've yet to encounter a steampunk person outside an event like a convention.
I know some.
I mean, of course, at the events, they are much more decked out. That's where you might see like the whole costume. Like I remember there's this guy, probably at this point quite a while ago, who just had this gigantic top hat with all kinds of stuff on it and like a full, exo suit arm kind of deal with gears and everything, like all handcrafted and super impressive. Some people just kind of more toned down to like basically like a neo-Victorian style. I mean, I've dressed like that too in videos, so that's whether or not you count that as steampunk. Isn't there also Victorian goth?
Oh yeah, that's what I like.
So that's probably the overlap is. I think Victorian goth and steampunk are probably separate, but can look very much alike, or at least similar.
I would suspect that Victorian goth, which often, by the way, is called classic goth, and apparently is the predominant style in France, from what I understand, is more part of the philosophical movement than a lot of steampunk people are.
The shock value of goth style is no longer effective. I don't think it was ever about the shock value, personally. It's like shock value, that's really more... I think punk maybe goes more in that direction. Sent. Thanks again. I hope it doesn't suck. All right. I can't read it at the same time while doing the stream because then I'm not doing anything else. I'm just sitting here silently, which is kind of stupid, but I'll try to read it afterwards and then let you know.
I'm completely censored here.
What? Were you? Oh.
Yes. Still? Okay.
You are completely hidden.
Wait,
That's
you
okay.
have a big head.
Yeah, my head is... Why don't you go the other side so you're in the foreground?
Because then I have to be all
Oh.
the way here.
Okay, never mind. That doesn't work.
There's a reason I'm over here.
Yeah. Doomers kind of took over in Eastern Europe with all the retro music. Okay. I mean, doom and gloom industrial is not out of place now. Another big booty stream. Well, not right now.
What, did I manage to get my ass back in?
No, I don't think so. Don't think you did. But the booty is always there.
Well,
In the background.
yeah, if it's gone, I'm dead. Oh, they're back to fucking calling for chairs. Seriously, people.
There is a chair that can be used if desired.
Mm-hmm.
Which it is not.
Exactly. Oh, bitch!
What?
Subscribe to Dr. Feelgood Slab. I mean, good burn, I'll give you that. No, techno isn't that bad, actually.
Goth is less shock value than punk, but still relies on differentiation from the norm and stunning imagery. I mean, which subculture does not rely on differentiation from the norm? It wouldn't be a subculture, right? It would just be mainstream if it was the same, you know? I mean, that applies to anything. It applies to punk, that applies to rappers, that applies to, you know, all kinds of stuff.
I'm trying to figure out what currency that is. Thank you, Goku, and it's very sweet of you to call us lovely.
I have no idea. Well, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I guess I can copy paste the symbol and then we'll see. Oh, Indian rupees.
Okay.
Rupees. Da, 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 da.
Also,
Canada looks fucking cold. I mean, compared to California, maybe. But I think right now it's probably only around 0. Celsius, not Fahrenheit. Would be good. I mean, do we actually really want to go out there?
I
Maybe.
believe it's actually -2.
Oh, it's minus
Forget it,
5.
it's -5.
Okay, that's
Gross.
it's worse than I thought. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not what I would call comfy.
Definitely not.
But it's good to get some exercise outside, you know?
Yeah, me trying to actually walk through that because it goes up to my hip.
Nah, it's not that tall.
It doesn't really, but me and snow.
Your feet are not on your knees, okay? You're short, but not that short. You're fun-sized. I wanted to know your opinion on extreme metal, like death metal and hardcore / beatdown, and what are some of my favorite bands. My opinion is meh. I do not personally appreciate that. I like actual vocals. I don't actually mind some growling here and there if it's accompanied by melodic vocals. Sometimes you have like a female melodic vocalist and then a male growler. That can kind of work together. But I like to understand words, and it doesn't necessarily some, you know, choir, orchestral sort of singing is, you sometimes can't understand what they're singing either, but it's melodic. I like that. I prefer that over because that's just animal noises to me. No offense to anyone who likes it, but to me it's just noise.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't count as death metal, but if we go for something that actually includes growling that I personally think is incredibly well done is Soilwork, specifically figure number 5. It's such a beautiful contrast between the two singers.
I mean, I can deal with growling. Growling is definitely better than screaming. Like some of the super high pitch. Just no. Just get the toddler away from the microphone. This is offensive to my ears. Or, dying pig or whatever. All of this nonsense. Of course, classical music is the best.
I will not say much against that.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of neoclassic.
Yeah, I think I actually prefer neoclassical over actual classical, but
That
it
being
depends on
said,
what it is.
Oh, harpsichord. Give me. Also, waltzes. Oh, and of course, Night on Quiet Mountain. Oh, no, even better, Danse Macabre. I'm sticking with that one, Danse Macabre.
That's a
That
good one.
piece.
I do like power metal, although I prefer symphonic. My one issue with power metal is it all sounds the same, and it's all a bunch of posers usually. Like it's all about glorious battle and blah 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 and heroic shit, and it's a little bit trivial. It's not necessarily anything wrong with it, but it gets a bit too much at times, if you know what I mean.
Yes, definitely have checked out The Who. They're amazing.
I have not.
Yes, you have.
Oh wait, right, yeah. That was the Mongolian metal, right? Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's good stuff.
Oh, but there's another Mongolian metal band. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Seven Treasures. They do not get enough love.
True. No, you're starting a war with what exactly? We've made a number of statements that could be controversial or whatever.
Opinion on Bathory. What, the band? The person?
Yeah, Danse Macabre by Ghost.
No. I'm not a big fan of that one. I did listen to it. I was heavily disappointed. I was hoping for a modernized rock version of it, but no, Danse Macabre by... Oh, God damn it. French. Can you please, before I embarrass myself completely?
Oh, Sans
Séance. Exactly.
Séance.
Camille Sans Séance. That one.
Best song on the internet is Paganini Caprice 5 by Simina Studer. I have no idea. Never heard of it or heard it.
Paganini can be pretty good, so yeah.
I don't know.
And yes, Powerwolf was fun.
Yep, Sabaton is good too.
Oh yeah, List. Definitely List.
And of course, let's not forget about the band that has the most consistent sound ever. Where every album and every song and everything sounds exactly the same. 100% consistent style. Running Wild. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. If that's what you like, then there's definitely much more of it. But I find it kind of funny. Like usually bands change in style over time, over the decades and whatnot. But Running Wild, nope. Definitely not. I Want to Bewitch You in the Moonlight is a fantastic pun lyric, and you know it.
I'm not saying it's a bad song. It's just when I click on something that says Danse Macabre, I have different standards.
Don't forget Man of War. Yeah, true.
Also, actually, Nickelback has changed more in style than not Manowar, Running Wild. The latest ones have, funnily enough, become a little bit more melodic. Yes, I'm one of those weirdos who openly admits that I listen to Nickelback.
I mean, Megadeth has also changed a little bit in style. Not as dramatically as Metallica, obviously, but like most bands do change a little bit in style. Yeah. But some just, they stick to their guns. 100%.
Has Nightwish
And then
changed
there's
style?
then there's Therion, where literally every album you listen to it for the first time, you're like, that's not Therion. And then you listen to it a few more times, and you're like, okay, all right, yeah, I get it. I can dig it. It's good.
Obviously, Leviathan does the same fucking thing. So if anybody hasn't noticed yet who's a Therion fan, they have a new one out.
I will have to say though, Les Fleurs du Mal, I can't deal with that. I can't hang with that. Like I've listened to it several times and I never got past that. That's not Therion. I don't know. I cannot deal with that one. But every other album has always been like, the first time you listen to it, you're like, what? Huh? What? What's this? And then you keep listening to it and you're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's Therion.
Dear gods, now I have to listen to that Iron Maiden song. It might very well be. There's actually some beautiful playlists out on YouTube. What is it called? Classical metal. Because more metal songs than you realize use classical themes.
And yeah, Angry Clown is damn right about that one. It's hard to beat Falconer's vocalist. Oh. Yeah, the guy's amazing.
Yes.
Like, that voice is golden. Yep. Can only agree.
Cover metal YouTubers. Yeah, I think you have a few you like, right?
The what now?
If you do enjoy any cover metal YouTubers.
Cover metal? Yeah. Oh, what's his name? Oh, damn it. I know his name. He just uploaded something recently, didn't he? What was it? Come on, think. What was it? Right, the shanty thing.
What is it with shanty?
I don't know. Thing? I don't know what it is either. Little V, yes. How could I forget? That guy is awesome. Wait, where is anything? Too many tabs.
Elstorm is good for some silly fun, true. But Ye Banished Privateers is a bit more of the real piratey experience, I'd say. And you can't fucking get Annabelle back out of your mind once you've listened to it once. Ugh, damn that song.
Yeah, Van Canto is pretty awesome too.
But I always preferred them over you. You kind of had an issue with them sometimes. You're not the biggest fan of a cappella.
No. Although there is this one guy, Smooth McGroove on YouTube, who does a cappella of video game music. Like, you know, all the old soundtracks. And he's great at it.
Porcupine Tree? No.
Great to see how you two are getting on. I mean, same as always, right?
Santiago.
All the best for the future and keep doing what you're doing. Will do, and thank you, and same to you. But where's the booty behind that? I don't think they can see that.
I don't know.
Okay,
yes,
there
it
is. The mighty booty has been unleashed for a brief second. That's 1 second is probably already cost some boners.
Now that's the confidence you want to see in your partner.
I know the power of the booty.
Which musical instrument would make for the best weapon? Depends how I'm allowed to apply it. If I can get a grand piano on top of somebody and then drop it. Job done.
An organ just to drop.
Okay, he had to outsize me.
Yep. Just the biggest instrument you can get.
Oh god. Yeah. That one German one that is in there. I can't remember the band, but it's a fun song.
Guitar clubbing, yes. Yeah. I guess an electric guitar should probably work pretty well. Should be sturdier than an acoustic one.
Maybe?
I would think so.
I'm pretty sure the hurdy-gurdy hurts too if you smack somebody with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just playing it is enough to cause damage.
Hey, the hurdy-gurdy is fun! Dude!
Oh, wait, I'm probably thinking of something else. What is my most hated instrument again?
Either the accordion or the sax. You can never decide.
Right, the accordion, yeah. Yeah, sax, I don't like...
Oh god, yes. I'm very into
Although... I do have to say, Ailstorm actually makes good use of the accordion. So that's the one redeeming thing. I will say that, but I hate the sound of saxophones. I don't know what it is. Feel free to judge. I know there's plenty of good music with saxophones, but I hate it. I cannot take it. Which sounds more epic? Chamber choir or pipe organ? I think I'm gonna have to go with the organ, but
I would have gone with the chamber choir.
it's hard to.
I personally just think there is something specific about the quality of the human voice that it just starts things in the brain that are interesting. I mean, we do suspect that humans were singing before they were talking.
I love bagpipes. I used to, until the Victoria Highland Games, when I was exposed to them for 8 hours straight, which has shown me the true psychological damage that they can do. If there's just non-stop, constantly bagpipes in the background, it drives you insane. Ugh. I did not expect that. I always liked them, but after that abuse, can't handle it anymore.
I mean, they didn't start out as an instrument.
Yeah, Scott, you remember the horror. You remember the mental anguish. Oh, no, that's too much. It's just, you notice more and more, the longer you listen, you notice more and more how shrill and cacophonous it is, actually. But in small doses, it's great. I will tell you that now. But after a time, it's just, whoa. Yeah, exactly. It was like, like dozens of different bagpipes playing 8 different songs. Yeah, exactly. That's a problem. If it was just one, but it was like this cacophonous mix of all kinds of different tunes played at the same time in the background. It was jarring.
And yes, apparently the stream is now about musical instruments.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but this is just, it evolves organically. That's what streams do. They, I'm not sure they age like fine wines, but they definitely grow organically and they mold into something, I suppose. And I meant that as an ambiguous term. Mold as in...
Okay, we get it.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, not everybody gets things. Sometimes you have to spell it out. Like sarcasm, for example. How's music used in a war? Psychological warfare. In case of bagpipes. But, of course, it's also, as, moral boost for your own people.
Well, and it started out, to the best of my understanding, as a signal. Because these damn things carry forever.
Yeah.
It's the same reason as horns were used. They also carry. It's always blowing instruments, I realize. Horns, bagpipes, trumpets.
I have no idea what is going on. That's okay. It's a live stream. You're not supposed to have any idea. Just things derail and evolve or devolve or however you want to look at it. It's okay. We can deal with it. It's probably about time to come to an end anyway. We've been streaming for
2.5 hours.
a long time, in other words.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm getting hungry, and you know what that means.
Okay, for my own safety, I'm just gonna have to call it here because the hangry is a force to be reckoned with, and nobody wants that ever.
No.
It's dangerous. So, yeah. Bye. Thanks for showing up.